Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amani Al-Ibrahim. I'm a partner and executive director at Christina Zanuck Consultants, and I'm also part of the design team as well, and I'm taking care of the Saudi office in the same time.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Oliviero Cassini. I am the Chief Development Officer for the Lux Collective, which is a Mauritian-born hospitality company operating 19 properties around the world and expanding, inshallah, very soon to Saudi as well.
Good evening, everyone. This is Ihab Haddad. I'm the Director of Design and Development for Dan Company, a subsidiary of PIF, where we create experiential resorts about agriculture, eco, and wellness.
Hello, everyone. My name is Piotr Kalinowski. I'm a CEO, Design Director of company Mixed. We are a Polish interior design company operating globally, designing experiences in interiors, in hospitality and workplace. And I'm very happy to be here as a guest in Riyadh as we're opening our Middle East practice.
Thank you. Michele?
Hi, everyone. My name is Michele Pascari Mediana. I'm a director at Zahadid Architects in London.
Fantastic. Now we know everybody. I'd like to open the floor here with you, Amani, with your background in project management and in interior design. So I'll take you off on the first question. How do you define luxury hospitality design in today's rapidly evolving market? And what role do cultural influences and sustainability play in shaping that definition?
I'm going to speak specifically what's happening nowadays in Saudi Arabia, and definitely the demand is high for luxury hospitality and luxury experiences, and we have the capability to accommodate these assets around Saudi, not just in one city but across Saudi, I guess, and through even areas that are yet to be discovered. In terms of culture, I think culture plays a major role in defining luxury in an overall aspect. And I think the essence of hospitality in our culture is really important. And that's why the locals, the guests themselves, and the whole culture encourages luxury to be implemented within the projects. And I think it's a solid ground to introduce luxury across our projects, definitely. And, we can take inspiration from the culture itself. The aspect of generosity as well plays a major part in our integral cultural, outlooks towards either the community itself or towards the guests who we are going to accommodate. And also it's part of the 2030 vision of Saudi Arabia. So I think it's definitely there, it's definitely happening, and it is the right time at the right place.
Thank you. I really like that point that you made about the essence of hospitality. Piotr, I'd like to pivot down to you. Would you like to expand perhaps on that and what luxury hospitality design means to you?
Of course. For us, as Mixed, luxury hospitality is something new, as we got invited recently to redesign a Fairmont global headquarters in Dubai. So we got invited by Mr. Mark Willis to experience Fairmont and to discover what the brand legacy is, and to take a perspective on that through our lifestyle, let's say, lifestyle lenses. This huge legacy, we discovered this luxury has, this brand has a lot to offer, and we discover many new brands coming from lifestyle into luxury and the other way around. And for us as Mixed is to discover the relevancy for the current world. It includes sustainability, includes the guest experience. For example, I've started to discover Saudi Arabia from this Monday when I went to Alola to experience Habitus. The beautiful, beautiful place in Saudi. And I think it shows perfectly what the trends are and what is the approach for the luxury today. It means a lot about our, let's say, need of humbleness and sustainability and looking for something that is timeless. In the same time, I think luxury is, for us, it's having a lot of time to discover our needs and to explore world and have a lot of possibilities. In this country especially, there's incredible potential, and as Mixed, we love to explore that. And I think luxury nowadays means a lot, and it's changing, and the change is, for us personally, is through lenses of lifestyle.
Thank you, thank you. Now, we know that Saudi Arabia is making substantial investments in the luxury hospitality sector as that broader Vision 2030 initiative. Now, I'd like to just touch a little bit on these investments, these significant investments that we're seeing. So, Ihab, I'm going to direct this question to you. With these significant investments that we're seeing across this sector specifically, what unique opportunities do you believe that they present not only for architects, but for designers as well?
Okay, I believe the Vision 2030 and the canvas that the kingdom has from its natural landscape, from the opportunities that has been opened for everyone to be so creative, to put all the sometimes, let's say, the unexpected ideas. It's opening the door for every designer, for all the architects, in order to bring those designs. And also, there is a lot of experience that's supporting the design. Design is not anymore about only the space. It's now, it's been, like extended to the outdoor areas, to certain technologies, to the guest also has changed. Like what he was expecting before from design and architecture now is being changed. That he need another layer, which is that he want to go to enjoy. It's not anymore about going just to travel or to stay. It's required now to look at more of the human factor and what is the interest is required for the architect and designers in order to give to the guest. So the guest factor is really now playing big important, and it's changing the game of the hospitality in the kingdom.
Michele, is there something that you'd like to add? I know in your previous presentation you were talking about some of those technologies. Would you like to kindly expand upon that point from Ihab?
Well, I think I was actually thinking as you were speaking that, you know, in a way luxury, especially for a place like Saudi, which is discovering itself through the eyes of tourism. And what I find very interesting is that luxury becomes something unique, so that if every destination that where we insert our project, we really try to work with what is unique about that place. And, you know, it's a very interesting process of discovery, I guess, from the Saudi themselves, because a lot of tourism here used to go abroad, and now we are now offering Saudi as a tourist destination. So we have to rediscover our land and make it unique, and at the same time you want all the comfort and all the facilities that you find in other luxury destinations everywhere else in the world. So it's a big challenge. Hopefully we can do things better because we are more sustainable. We can have a smaller impact, and people have a higher degree of education. So you don't expect to find exactly the same experience everywhere in the world. You know that if you go to a Lula, you'll have to compromise on certain things, but then you'll have a very, very unique experience. And we're working on Trojena, which is exactly that. It's really kind of trying to understand how we create a mountain resort in Saudi.
Thank you. Oliveira, talking about unique experiences and sustainability, I'd like to hear your thoughts on some of those technologies and innovations that you see coming out into this hospitality luxury sector.
Thank you. Just as a background, I was living here for 5 years working for one of the large development companies. So I have the perspective of what the developer wants and needs, as well as now from the operator side, what the requirements are, especially on the luxury and ultra-luxury space. So in the Lux Collective, we operate properties in eco-sensitive environments like Mauritius, Maldives, Zanzibar, and so on. So we understand the discerning guests' expectations. Now things are evolving in the technology space. It's difficult to keep abreast with all the innovations that are happening. AI is definitely part of the future, and we need to embrace that. We need to work with it. And so, as well as the sustainability, which is becoming critical for operators like ourselves, who are actually bound by ESG standards and reporting standards. So we need to make sure that we're all engaged in this, from the conceptualization of a project throughout, design, development, and then operations. That we all embrace all these technologies, ESG, innovations, sustainability requirements. And maybe I can talk more about sustainability if you want.
Yes, by all means.
No, so this is a point I made yesterday in another panel, that what's happening in the industry is that a lot of companies, especially companies that are listed, they need to adhere to the IFRS standards, the accountancy standards, that are going to include sustainability. So what we're starting to do, what we've been doing for many years, but other operators are catching up as well, is monitoring all the carbon emissions, monitoring BMS, the energy management sustainability initiatives like that, to make sure that one day the guests know that you're going to have the tick in the IFRS. So I think these are important things to discuss and to maybe dig in deeper. And what I've noticed in Saudi is that they are really at the forefront of this. So developers like Red Sea Global, who I worked with, and others, are really embracing this. They understand, these standards, whether it's LEED or whatever, and they incorporate it from the onset.
I think that's a very valuable point. We're seeing much more of that eco-tourism that is becoming a big part of the luxury hospitality sector, and it has some big influences in the way that we do design. Amani, I'd like to understand from you if you can share some examples, particularly on some cultural integration that has successfully enhanced a guest experience in some of the luxury hospitality projects that you've worked on here, specifically in the Kingdom.
So we were privileged to work on a couple of these giga and mega projects with the PIF entities and developers such as the Red Sea, Al Medina, and Diriyah Gate Authority. And, whether it's sustainability or whether cultural influences has been, infused in these projects, this is definitely an essential point that we touch base on every project, and this is what makes each project unique. For example, we have worked with the Red Sea, where the inspiration was derived from the environment, and we studied the movement of the wind that it creates on the sea and on the sand, and that was the inspiration behind our concept for the St. Regis in the Red Sea. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen the opening of that hotel and the interior photos, and also the architecture was great because it was done by King Okuma, and I think the inspiration behind that, driven from the locality and from the environment of Saudi Arabia and from the landscape as well, was very important. I can jump to another project where we dig deep through the cultural influences of the Najd region, and we know how important Najd and the culture of Najd to DGDA. So we also infused our research and our concept through these elements, and we do a lot of research, whether the project is based in Riyadh or in the Western Province or in the Eastern Province. We do a lot of research, and I think our team as well digs deep into that, and Christina herself also emphasizes on the importance of research based on cultural influences, whether you're influenced by the culture itself, by the architecture, by any materiality, and we also touch base on sustainability. It's also driven from using sustainable materials, and I think now all the clients, the developers are really educated regarding that, and a lot of our projects that we work on, they outlook to gold mustadam, platinum, and gold lead as well. So we really focus on that and touch base on that from the early stages, as we know that this project is sustainability directed, and we do the research. You can be amazed on the amount of research that we get. We also, as Saudis and as locals, we really get educated more about what's happening on, what do we discover as well, and what outcomes we get out of this research, especially in sustainability, on the sustainability element.
Thank you. Yeah, I hear you. It's very much a balance.
Definitely.
And it's a very tricky balance that I think that we as designers and architects have to really research and integrate into our processes. Piotr, for this one, how do you feel that we can address those challenges that we face with this balancing act, particularly with the luxury hospitality design?
Well, I think it's a big challenge to integrate sustainability and all challenges of the modern world into the design. But our work as an agency, as a creatives, is to understand the moods of the society and understand also the culture of the country we are working with. And culture of Saudi Arabia is a rich, very rich culture and rich history, which we could do a research. But also, usually at Mixed, we do very deep storytelling. We sometimes write even as poems. For one of the projects, we wrote a poem together with the brand just to understand a vision of a perspective of a person that's actually coming and what he sees. Sometimes we do storytelling, which is very abstract, and we love to explore that in terms of the vision that we create together. And I think Saudi is very open to these kind of visions and these kind of ideas, which sometimes lead to unexpected results in terms of design. And for us, on the other hand, sustainability and being in touch with nature is something very fundamental. So we try to incorporate in every project the sustainability as a, let's say, foundation, not as something that we want to brag about, something that we consider as a must. And this is very important when you consider, for example, the FF&E strategy, when you select your suppliers, and you analyze the EPDs and all the technical stuff behind the products. We sometimes do very deep research on that, and we try to prioritize the companies that are sustainable. And they're doing the job together with us to understand what we could do together. And also very important work we are doing as designers is to discover local talents, not only in terms of design, but also in terms of production and manufacturing. We tend to at least 20 or 30% of selection of F&E to source locally in terms of the stuff that we just want to expose to public. And it gives the people that are creating those things right exposure. And of course, to the clients of those properties, this is a great possibility to get curious, to trigger curiosity, to get involved in local culture, to sometimes discover something that they would not discover in a city itself. So for us, as an agency, we are a type of, let's say, the alchemists that are putting the ingredients together and weaving something that could be interesting just for the first step and next step, and the layering deeper and deeper into the story. And the difference in luxury is that those layers are infinite. We need to design with really having this in mind, that if you go deeper and deeper in layering in design, some people will discover some things that will change their lives even. And I think it's very, very much visible in, for example, the habitats that I was experiencing, the ceremony of welcoming, which is something that you not expect when you come over from a taxi, right? But then you just immediately into the world of our home, what they say. So I think it's a new approach in lifestyle, that it's a very personal experience. You got personalized in the community from the first step into the hotel. And at Mix, we love those things. This creates this trust and attachment from a brand and from a property to the guest. So that's the important work for our studio.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it ties back into that point of that essence of hospitality and generosity that you were talking about, Imani. Ehab, technology is revolutionizing the guest experience, as we know. How do you see the integration of advanced technologies such as AI, automation, etc., shaping the future of luxury hospitality design?
That's a good question. We basically, when I started working when I came to Saudi, you realize the amount of digitized environment that's already here. You're talking about 46% of the people who are using digitized platforms in order to do their daily practices, their purchases, all that. So and they are expecting this type of clientele. They are expecting this type of technology to find it as well on the hospitality. So like before, it used to be a luxury to have a Wi-Fi in a hotel room. Now it's something mandatory. And I believe most of the brands and all, when we are developing any project, we're driving that to the next level. So now you are expected to have certain AI solutions that already record certain data and document about your guest. So I saw a couple of nice solutions here as well when I was in the roaming now in Index, that they collect that data and you can continue what you are doing if you are moving between different property or you're practicing something at home. So you can continue that in your hotel room, and that data collection is helping a lot the AI system, and most of the brands and hospitality projects are implementing that. Adding to the client requirement, I believe also technology is being used to being more sustainable. So there is a lot of solution that we are using in most of the project. Being sustainable, there is a lot of as well technologies related to biotech and these type of things that generate certain watering for landscape and creating lighting, all that. Technology is evolving every day. So we're trying to catch up with as much possible solutions, but you always get surprised when you research more and find what this technology is offering and how much it's enhancing the guest experience and the hospitality sector, basically.
Oliviera, I'd like to hear your view on just what Ihab had said.
No, absolutely. I think the key word is personalization, right? So especially if we're talking luxury, and that's what the business we're in. We're in the business of serving people and making sure they're happy and they leave content and come back. So I think AI will be fundamental. I mean, it is already, and will be even more so in essentially tailoring the stay of your guests, understanding their needs, understanding their requirements, and making sure that their stay is customized to their expectation, to meet their expectations. So, I mean, things are moving so quickly that we're catching up. We're trying to catch up. What we can do for now is, give the best stay as possible, give the best service as possible. We have the privilege of having very high repeat visitation. About 20% of our guests are returning customers. So we know them well, and there's people that have been coming back for many, many years. I think the other important point that you touched as well is using technology for sustainability, for ESG purposes. Like I was saying previously, we integrate into the BMS. We're very, very active. We've been doing this for many years, looking at carbon emissions, how to reduce waste. There's a whole array of things you can do with technology to improve your ESG sort of reporting standards. So yeah, I think that answer your question.
Yes, thank you. Michele, do you have anything to add? Do you agree, disagree?
Well, we use a lot of AI to try and learn behavior of people. And when you work with large corporations, for instance, in the office environment, it's quite easy. Sometimes we even have clients that are happy to share our 3D model with their staff, and they let people actually navigate the space, and we get real-time feedback on what we design. They can kind of plan where they want to go, which departments wants to go where. We also do it sometimes for retail, for instance. So retailers and tenants can actually see how easy it is to get to their shop or where they want to be placed. We haven't done that for kind of mass market, so we haven't done it for hospitality. It would be very interesting to kind of test projects, but I can imagine like you could put a hotel online and let your guests kind of choose where they're going to, or maybe anticipate their route to their room so they don't have to spend time at the lobby when they arrive, and you get your check-in experience much more facilitated. But yes, I mean, AI is pretty much everywhere, and it's much more about learning about patterns and behaviors rather than, let's say, storing the data, but it's really about, also us being smarter and getting more information. So it's a real kind of experience that then the professional can kind of use to better serve the future customer.
I think what's interesting is that we're touching on that personalization and how that is weaving into that whole layering in terms of the design process and the experiences of our guests. And for me, that really comes down to that experiential design and offering. What are your thoughts on this, Amani?
I think having items or spaces being personalized or even bespoke, I think it's very important because it plays a major role in the whole experience for the guests to feel welcomed from the first moment, from their arrival moment towards their, check-ins, to their stays, to the whole experience. So definitely personalization is a very important aspect that we take into consideration, I think, in design and even in architecture, I think in both ways. And, we look to personalization, whether it starts from the concept stage towards developing the design and, moving inwards to the other aspects of design, whether FF&E items to be very bespokely done, influenced, and having the influences back from the concept into actual items in the hotel, along with the ambience, along with the overall experience, and even the services provided within. Nowadays, even the F&B, is being considered to be very personalized with introducing aspects from Saudi Arabia and from the local influences around, and blending that with the modern outcome of the society and even the visitors. You're not just catering for the locals and the tourists purely, you're catering for both. So as you mentioned before, it's a balance between both. And, tourism in Saudi has risen the past few years. And as Michele mentioned, that it's not only tourists coming from abroad, but it's also Saudi people, being tourists in their own land and experiencing this. And I think Saudi Arabia is the land of hospitality, definitely.
Very well said. Thank you. I'd like to just stay on this point of experiential design just a little bit longer, if you'll permit me. Piotr, what do you think about experiential design, and does it have a very unique place in the luxury hospitality sector, or do you see this changing? I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think luxury design has made a huge progress in the last, let's say, couple of years. And let's say our presence as a design studio, it shows that it's changing and looking for new ventures and new ideas. And as we're pitching for incredible brands, for example, I don't know, Six Senses, where they're exploring new ideas, it gives our freedom to creation. And I think this creation is based on experiments. And sometimes we need to do something that is just out of the box. It's something new, just to try if the end user will adapt it and will be very happy about it, or he will just not be happy about it. And when we work with Fairmont headquarters, it was a great example of how we got involved in a brand that's legacy. It's so huge that our vision is from the different dimension. So we learned so much working with the experts of Fairmont, just to understand the legacy and build a story that is relevant to the brand, but also looks for the future of the brand. And with those kind of brands, it's really interesting to look how they are evolving over time. And it's even harder to work, let's say, with Fairmont and looking for a new, let's say, relevant experiences than working with Six Senses, when you see a brand that is completely open to new ideas. And in the same time, I think when you think about the fundamentals, it gives you a possibility to explore them. And for every of those luxury brands, you need to be very curious and very careful what you craft in terms of interior design. That's why we try to not follow trends. We try to just think very personally, very uniquely about every location. And I think that's the future of luxury. It's more like looking for what it will be the future true lenses of fashion, of people's new, let's say, experiences for traveling. And I think that's relevant to your question in terms of that. As a young studio, because they're a very young studio, working in luxury is a huge investment of our also talent, but in the same time we're learning a lot of the legacy. But I think the clash of the future of luxury and lifestyle, let's say, commodities that we have, it's creating something new and very, very exciting for the future.
Ihab, what do you believe is the future of luxury hospitality design?
Well, basically, we touched based on a lot of things that what we can see for the near future, whether it is technology, its experience, bringing the human factor, all that. Mainly, the focus, even what we are doing now, is focusing more on this experiential resource. The guest demand is changing. As we said from the beginning, is that they are not expecting anymore to go just to stay in a large space. It's now need to be customized for their requirement. They need to enjoy. They need to go out and see the wow effect. They need to go to a resort and do something. It's not anymore resorts are about a room and a pool. It's about activities. You need to create that second layer for them. What we are doing now, or even from where I came from, we used to do a lot of those experiential resorts that the guest is going there, he has a full program to do. He has a full menu to select from the activities that he needs to do. Now here in Saudi Arabia, we're doing that even on a second level, that we are customizing part of those resorts for a certain scheme, whether it is agriculture, whether it is wellness, whether it's adventure. So we're bringing everything, technology, we're bringing experts, we're bringing sustainability to those concepts in order for people to go and see something really different. As I say, like, it's not anymore only you go and there's also a knowledge that you can get on those resorts. We're creating a lot of technology that you go there and it show you how you can practice sustainability in you. I mentioned about biotech. It's something that we are using right now. It is something, it's a self-generative system that can create irrigation without any network. It can generate light. It generates. So when you are talking about eco and sustainability, the guest can go there and learn how to create the sustainability with technology. It's something new he's going. It's something not expected. There is a story that he can take back home. So this is also applies on technology, on heritage. Plenty of things need to be implemented with hospitality. And if you are not the creative in hospitality, you will not sustain within the competition.
All very interesting. And do you feel that all of those points that you've touched on, they really align with the Saudi Arabian market's expectation for luxury hospitality?
It's not aligned. It's been done. I mean, all of us are targeting this, and most of us, designers, developers, we're practicing those. So I believe everyone is excited to see the upcoming project. There is a lot of new things to see, and it's going to be something really exciting in the coming future.
Amani, you agree?
I do agree, definitely. And I think, as Ihab said, it's there already and it's been implemented. And, maybe the world was spectacle at the beginning if we were able to do that and accomplish that. But definitely it's there, it's been happening. And we're eager to do even more and explore more opportunities in that regards. And I just wanted to touch base on personalization. It's not just in design, but also operators are very keen on doing personalized moments within their guidelines and within their assets as well. For example, in St. Regis, you have the St. Regis bar mural, where you have a beautiful mural that it's part of the art, or it's part of the design that should be bespokely done for the St. Regis Bar. For Hilton, you have the unique meeting rooms. They're not just corporate meeting rooms, but it's also a place to socialize and, have a relaxed meeting in a relaxed atmosphere. And also in Fairmont, out of experience with Fairmont with Ru'al Medina, they have the Golden Room, which is part of the, executive club, and it should have these accents of gold and luxury to be implemented. So I think personalization is incorporated in different aspects in designs, whether it's from the operator themselves, from the designers, and also sometimes from the clients.
Fantastic. I love that idea of a golden room. Sounds very interesting.
It is.
I'm just conscious of time, so I'd like to go around the lounge, if I may, and ask one last question for each of you. We'll start with you, Amani, because you are on my left-hand side. How do you believe that Saudi Arabia is preserving and integrating its rich cultural heritage into these luxury hospitality experiences? And how do we balance that blend of modern and traditional elements for high-end travelers?
I think through the projects that we've been working on and everyone around this panel is being involved on, I think we've been incorporating culture in a big percentage within the projects, and I think even the client themselves are asking for that. And I think this is a fundamental element that His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman is being very keen on keeping and touching base with that on every project, whether it's from the Red Sea to Diriyah to Ru'al Medina and other even, private entity-owned assets. I think culture is very integral, and blending culture with the modern setting is something easy, because this is the Saudi nowadays. You can see culture, but yet it's in a modern setting. You can see the young generation very, very keen to, be part of the new lead of the world and part of the new innovation, part of the new movements that's happening across, whether it's in innovation, design, or engineering. But they are still tied back to the culture, and they're very proud to show that in their projects and to show that within themselves, their personalities, the way they take it forward. And I believe it's been great, and we see that as an integral part of our design, and we see it being asked by the clients, being asked by the developers, and we're very keen to bring that into reality and to have it part of an integral moment or integral feeling that you feel within our spaces that we create.
Oliviera?
No, it's a great question. I mean, I was, again, on the other side and have dealt with very discerning, say, board members and so on. The expectation is very, very high when it comes down to design, integrating culture. But I'd say from the top, but even at the sort of normal people level, Saudis are sophisticated. Most people have traveled a lot. They know what they want, and they want something that is different to what you can find in Los Angeles, Rome, Bali, or wherever else. Right? It has to have that Saudi feeling, that heritage somewhere within the project. So I think it's a critical component, and it will be the differentiating point, right? So the people, the designers, the developers that will be able to convey that will be the most successful projects. I wanted to just give as an example what we've done in Mauritius. So we've developed, Lux is our main brand, but we've developed another brand called Salt, which in a few years has taken off. And it kind of combines all these elements that we've been discussing. The rooms are very simple, right? It's not about hyper luxury. There's no mini bar, there's no TV. But it's about the experiences that you can do around the resort. It's about the farm to table. So you're meeting the actual farmers that are growing the crops that you're eating the tomatoes from. You're going to the crafts and creating something with the craftsmen in the local village. So this brand that we thought, almost like a pilot project, is now the #1 brand on TripAdvisor, right, in Mauritius. So it's overtaking even Lux. So it's a great kind of story to tell because it's emblematic for the times we're living in. And we thought it would be, appealing to the millennials or the Gen Z, but actually it's across all ages, right? Just people want to go and feel like they're going somewhere unique, somewhere different, and not the same place where, they're traveling from, whether it's Germany, France, or wherever. So.
No, I love that. It comes back to that experiential design. Ihab?
Well, basically, people are considering implementing heritage and cultural as a KPI. So at the beginning, they feel like this is something, a restriction. While when you start diving deep into the history of the kingdom, especially like I experienced that personally, that we are doing our projects in different regions. So every time you touch base on any of those regions, you really feel shocked about the richness of that culture, the practices that is there, the architectural language. So we ended up, rather than having that as a KPI or given that we need to meet that, it really enriched all of our projects. The added layer that it gave to those projects and the stories that we are telling. Every time we're going to a location, we found a really new story that we didn't know about. And we don't need to do a lot to research and find that story. It is there, and it's easy. The people can translate it, whether within their culture or the physical things that is already, and the nature that is already on that location. It gives a lot. We already also focus on bringing that heritage element and the cultural element to those projects and engage the community. This is a very important factor, and trust me, it enriched the projects. It's not something like a box that we need to tick.
I couldn't agree more. Piotr?
I agree with everyone here. I think you pointed very well about the resort activities and the possibility and like demand from the guest to be entertained, but in a different way than in the past, in some more sophisticated way. And I think in Saudi it's very well visible that it's expected to be very ambitious, but at the same time to respect the culture of the and legacy of the country, of the kingdom. And I think it's the great example I had on Monday when I was traveling to Alula, and the chef from the restaurant was Mexican, and he was mixing the Mexican food with Saudi food in kind of very creative way. And I think it's a great example of this new kind of luxury hospitality when you trigger curiosity by food, by music. At the same time, on music layer, you had a beautiful, let's say, tribal house, when you're mixing a very traditional music with a newer, let's say, electronic music. And it is very sophisticated, and for many people, it's okay, even for more traditional, for very modern people, for young and older people. But it's even more that they bring it together. They bring together the gap of the ages, from the older people to younger people. The younger guys have the house music, the older guys have the traditional vibes. And it's a great way to close the generation gap, I think, and to entertain in a very sophisticated way. And I think, as you mentioned on this Mauritius development, it's very well received by guests. And especially in luxury segment, when people are educated, they're open to new experiences, they like to travel, and they're very open also to the other guests of the hotel. They're ready to involve in a community. So in this kind of way, cultural background is a kind of a trigger to be creative about it, how to expose it in a creative way. And I think Saudi Arabia is doing it a great job here.
Yeah, it almost becomes part of that process of engaging all your senses, which I think is incredible.
Totally.
Kele?
Well, I think we always try to create emotions through design, through space, and obviously this idea of dealing with people which have a higher level of education is a privilege, but at the same time it's difficult because they will know if you've done it before, they will know if they've seen it somewhere else. And sometimes we do have the challenge. I mean, I worked a lot in the Far East. We work in very difficult cities, very dense, where you actually don't want to take anything from the place. You want to create something by contrast. So sometimes, and I think a lot about the hospitality sector. There has been a lot of trying to repeat models from somewhere else. And sometimes you also, you go back to the tradition of something purely local, but you break from the tradition of the past 10 years because things have been done in the wrong way. So you need to create that kind of conflict between repeating and reinventing, but also bringing something new. And I think, your mix of food or music is a nice example where you bring a different element, you bring a bit of contrast, and then you can appreciate what you're getting. And otherwise, you will just end up repeating what everyone else is doing. And so people want something very, very unique. And sometimes when you design, you don't even know if you're providing it or not. And it's actually quite a nice moment where you discover that you've created a space where people gather, a space of interaction, a space of socialization, because that's one of the key elements of luxury, is a very individual experience. Most times people don't want to see anyone else. They don't want to meet anyone else. Everything is about exclusivity. So if you can create a little bit of social spaces or social experiences, maybe not throughout the whole day, but in certain times of the day, that can be quite a nice element, because then you have likely-minded people kind of sitting around the same space and enjoying the same landscape or the same sunset, for example.
Oh, well said, well said. I'd like to open the floor to our guests for any questions or anything that anybody might have. I think we have one at the back. Yeah.
Sorry, you all have to look over your shoulder now. I was really interested in the conversation about the role technology plays, and particularly automation and things like AI. And I just wanted to kind of get the panel's view on how do you... I sometimes think there's a danger in the design process that we tend to get caught up in the technology itself for the experience it can bring without really understanding its long-term consequences or effects. So I just wanted to try and find out from the panel what they think about the role of technology for technology's sake rather than technology serving a purpose. If I can think of an example. So, for instance, doormen used to be very commonplace at hotels, and over time they eventually got replaced by automated doors that would open and, to facilitate guests coming in and out quicker and everything like that, which is great. The only problem is that the function of a doorman wasn't necessarily just opening the door for guests that were coming in. It was normally someone that was very familiar with the surrounding area. They could probably get you, last-minute theatre tickets. They knew all the gossip was going on, give you directions, call you a cab. So I often think that sometimes perhaps in this pursuit of technology and innovation to create some sort of experience, we're actually losing some of what made hotels very personal and very human. We're sort of losing that experience. I don't know.
I can answer that because I'm coming from hospitality background. I used to be an operator for some time. So basically, we have to be very careful. I will turn to your side. Yeah, basically, we have to be careful on using the technology. And there was many experiences when operator, they just pushed to use technology and it was not tested and it lost the man factor. Give you just a live example is the guest room management system or the automation in the room. Till now, you have a lot of guests who come complain that, okay, and I was in the discussion with someone yesterday who told me, like, when I want to sleep, I used to remove the bulb because he didn't know which button is to switch off the light. And by the way, I worked with many operators before. I used to be a consultant and a designer. And in many cases, we had to go, many operators, they want, okay, we want all that automation to happen in the room. Then majority of them, they went back, okay, let's limit it to where it is guest friendly. So this answer, and we have this becoming like, we have to be really reasonable on not to lose the human factor and as well not to lose the service. We all agree that, okay, some people, they want to go to a hotel lobby and tell you it's self-check-in. But majority of us, we still need that man factor. you need someone to treat you. These type of system, I personally believe they need to be used only on the mass hotels, where you have, for example, exhibition where you have 2,000 people is checking in. But when you are on a smaller hotel, when you are talking about luxury, I think this is need to be reconsidered. So you still need someone to greet you. You need to be, till now we are still doing, when you are talking luxury, we still have a seated check-in receptions. So because that factor is really important till now. So the winner now who managed to use the technology but not lose the service. Once you lose the service, we all can build hotel, we can all install technology, but if we lose that factor of a human, the technology will play against us. So this is my answer for this.
Oh, I'm going to really twist your necks here. My name is Neil Bennett of Matkins Realis. I'm a senior design manager in hospitality. I'm also from Ireland, and we were doing 60 years ago, or rather our parents were, what you're doing here now. You're bringing in two factors, and they come up at a hospitality seminar. I was quite shocked that they brought them up. They started talking about having a robot at reception. The most beautiful people in the world, apart from the Irish, is Saudis, and we have a lot in common. And it's beautiful when you go into, I've been in Alula for a year, and I go into a hotel there, and you get a real shine in a reception. I spoke in Arabic, and the lady said, "Wow, you've got a beautiful accent when you speak in Arabic." And it was a great moment, you know, to exchange some culture and everything. Don't bring the robots in. Put the Saudis on reception. So important. Second thing, they said that hostels, they kind of wrote off the idea of having hostel accommodation here. In Ireland, we found a lot of young people who were students from all over the world, Germany, Japan, wherever, discovered Ireland by coming there when they were students and had limited expenses, and they enjoyed getting close to nature and the local villages and the traditional music and everything. And they came back later with their families. And some of them actually brought their businesses, end up very large German companies, etc., and brought that here. And hostels are a good investment. So don't overlook that, because, you're really breaking ground here with people coming into the country, backpackers, very important for the future. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Up there, yes.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tomasz Jagielski. I'm the co-founder of the Hall1 company. I have a question about a little bit about the from Zaha Hadid studio, because you mentioned about the that you can create the analysis when you put avatars inside the space. It was very interesting about it. So we have a little bit difficult now because we are merge digital art from around the world. We connect digital artists from around the world, and we provide the digital art to the space and collaborate with architects also. But it was be very helpful to know before do it in the space, to know the analysis how digital art fit in the space and get some analysis. Do you understand me? Yes, about the question. So the question is do you see the possibility to collaborate and see how it works in the space, maybe of some of your projects? Thank you.
Well, actually, it's happening already. We are seeing more and more collaboration. So we did now second year we're doing the Venice Art Biennale, and we're doing the web version of it. And we also have our own server on the metaverse, where we actually invite artists and architects to give us their models, and you can actually see it in the virtual environment. There is a limit of 100 concurrent users, because basically we need to use our own server, so there is a limit of how many people can access the space, but it's almost like a gaming environment where we can recreate this room and experience it firsthand. And most people are quite happy to do it just with a computer screen, but you can access it from your phone or with goggles. So yes, there is a lot of technology out there to actually be able to experience, let's say, even digital art and creating digital galleries. And you can have events on it, which is the exciting part. So you can have a vernissage, you can have an opening, you can have the artist or the art gallery kind of talking about the pieces. We tried selling in the metaverse. That didn't go down very well. So that's not really, we haven't been able to monetize it just yet. But as an experience, it works very, very well.
Yes, we were also on NFT Paris this year, and we tried to go through to the NFT community. But we have something different because we have the animations, very high definition animations, and we are also implicate the technology of displays. So we would like to know, can we make some analyze how it works in the space, the huge displays, and display the animations, like, for example, some organic algorithm art, and how people can feel it in the metaverse, and to put it to the physical project in the end. This is the question.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going a little bit on the technical side of things, but maybe we should try. Maybe we should exchange contacts and we try to host you in our metaverse. We see how it works.
If I may, excuse me.
Yes,
hello.
last question.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Kasper Stroop, I'm a salesman for Furniture Factory from Poland. And I just written down a couple of phrases, words that were mentioned today. Sustainability, organic forms, enlightenment in terms of knowledge, real care about legacy and world that future generations will live, respect for heritage, reducing generational gap through blending music or food origins. My question is, how would you call the actual stream, the actual time, the actual era in terms of what I've just said? Is there any name for this current era that we are living in?
You want to give it a go?
I have no idea, but I think you got this right in terms of what are the trends right now, and I think maybe you name it. What's the era?
I wish.
Maybe
Thank
somebody.
you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me this evening, and thank you to our audience. It's been a wonderful experience, and have a lovely evening. Thank you.